she's been influenced by your perceptions and your memories? Okay.
Would you say that, Mr. Kidd?
No, I wouldn't.
Next question.
How many times have you met with
offended?
anybody from the DA's office?
Ooh.
And I'm just going to limit the time frame right now in anticipation of your appearance in this trial, yesterday and today.
I'd say roughly 4 or 5.
Can you give me a time frame when those 4 or 5 meetings were?
I don't have dates. I do remember at one point I met with Mr. Brennan. He was new to the case. So I went in and he introduced himself.
How long ago was that?
Liar, paint's on fire.
Weeks or months?
Oh, my back hurts like hell.
And maybe I can't give you a time frame. I'm sorry.
Do you think it was last summer?
No.
Do you think it was?
No, it was more recent.
Okay.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
wasn't in the fall of last year?
No,
It was in 2025 sometime?
I believe so, yes.
You think it might have been February, January?
Again, I can't give you an exact, I'm sorry.
All right. I want to talk about the time frames of those conversations, and I'll ask you a little bit more about those conversations. So that was the first meeting that you had was with Mr. Brennan in anticipation of your testimony. What were the subsequent 4 meetings or so that you've had? With whom and approximately what time?
Okay, so another meeting with Mr. Brennan. Are you looking for who was
Sure.
there?
Who else was there?
I mean, can I give you a general answer? I didn't write down like every meeting who was there, but
course.
generally, okay.
Was Mr. Lally there?
During 1 or 2 of the meetings, he was, yes.
Was Ms. McLaughlin there?
Yes.
Was there anybody else from the DA's office there?
The officer or trooper Tully was there at 1. Trooper Buchanan was there at 1. The witness advocates were there. And again, give or take the particular meeting.
Those are 2 meetings that you've talked about with Mr. Brennan and others. What about the 3rd meeting?
No, I'm sorry. I was lumping a few of them together.
Sure, understood.
I apologize.
How many meetings would you have? Let's just start there. How many meetings have you had with Mr. Brennan and either staff or colleagues?
So after the first initial meeting, I would say, again, I didn't write them down. Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 or 3 more after that.
Okay.
Excuse me, first initial one.
Hi, Patsy. How you doing? Little B, what's up?
So that's either 4 or 5 meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues, Mr. Lally, Ms. McLaughlin.
Wonder it matters. I'm back. Show's not over. I had to go get some grapes and coffee.
Perhaps Mr. Nelson, perhaps the
Don't forget to
other
like and
employee of the
subscribe,
DA's
everyone.
I'm
office,
making coffee.
and Troopers Buchanan and Trooper Tully.
Correct.
You asked questions about at any of these meetings. I'm just going to lump them all together. Any of these 5 meetings. By the way, when was the most recent?
Last night, I had a Zoom call in regards, I think the court asked them to.
Yes, I'm going to stop you right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask a different question, and if you don't mind, I'm just going to lead you through this question.
Okay.
You had a conversation last night. I'm not interested in that particular conversation. That was for a very specific purpose. I'm asking you about everything leading up to, but not including last night's conversation, okay?
Okay.
So let's just leave that one out.
Why leave that out?
You've had, I think you mentioned either 4 or 5 other meetings with Mr. Brennan and some combination of his colleagues and or law enforcement.
Yeah, and I might have, in the 5, included that one from last night.
Okay, fair enough. Were you asked questions in those, we're just going to call them 4 meetings. Were you asked questions during those 4 meetings about your testimony at the first proceeding last year?
I reviewed.
No licking spoons. No licking spoons, guys.
I did review some of my testimony. Yes.
In what format?
I
a
watched.
paper transcript or?
No, we just watched a little bit of it.
Did you watch your direct examination?
A little bit, yes.
Did you watch your cross-examination?
A little, yes.
Who cross-examined you?
You did.
Yes. And did you watch the redirect or any part of it?
No.
Did you watch any part of any subsequent version of recross or additional questions that you were asked?
I don't believe so, no.
Was there a specific area that Mr. Brennan asked you to look at and review in terms of your direct or your cross-examination?
No.
Did you watch the entirety of the direct examination and the entirety of the cross-examination?
I do not believe so, no.
Were you questioned by Mr. Brennan following your review of that that direct and
I'm about to take some
cross-examination?
time
No.
on my back.
So
is
he didn't
starting
ask
to
you
hurt.
any questions about any of your answers?
I don't, he showed me a dash cam and would ask me to point out who's this, who's that, a waterfall video, is this you, is this somebody? Those were the type of questions that he asked me.
Back pain is
What
the
about,
worst, guys.
what
I don't
about
wish
a
on
discussion
nobody.
about your demeanor and how you
You
performed
are a
in
liar,
the last
Mrs. Whatever your name is.
proceeding?
Chen, whatever your last name is.
Sustained.
I'll ask it a different way. What about your demeanor? I'm using probably a poor word, perform, how you came across, your demeanor in the last proceeding.
Sustained.
Sustain.
Did you discuss changing your demeanor in any way, shape, form, or fashion from the last trial
Jennifer
to, I'm sorry, the
McCabe.
last proceeding to this trial?
Jennifer
my mistake.
McCabe is a
From the
liar.
last proceeding to this trial, was your demeanor ever discussed?
No, I was just told to slow down, answer the question, and, answer it to the best of my memory.
Was there any discussion about talking about your background, for instance, your family and your children and being a sports mom, as you talked about in your direct
It's
examination?
not up to you.
No, I believe I did that in the previous one as well.
Was there any discussion about crafting your testimony in any way to suggest a softer approach?
No.
Was there any discussion about how to develop your testimony from beginning to end? Okay.
Sustained.
Why you
Did
looking
Mr.
away?
Brennan ask you about, or let me ask it a different way. Did Mr. Brennan take you through a series of questions, for instance, as almost a test run of questions that you might be asked either on direct examination or cross-examination?
Hershey? Wow.
Did you practice your
Wow.
testimony with any member of the DA's office?
No.
Little B, that sounds pretty filling. You got you some Chips Ahoy Hershey fudge filled cookies?
Ew.
Chips Ahoy Hershey fudge filled cookies. That is fattening. Wow.
Diabetes waiting to happen.
Were there any sessions where you sat and was subjected to a cross-examination, like a fake cross-examination or a
Should I
fake
take time
direct
on, or should I
examination?
wait until I
No,
take all my
there
meds?
wasn't
I'm not
that.
waiting until
No.
12.
What were the things that stand out in your mind? You said you had at least 4 meetings. How long was each meeting, by the way, ish?
Ish.
The first meeting I think was fairly quick. It was just the introduction.
30 minutes, less than 30 minutes?
Let me get my meds ready so I can take them when it's
I don't want to give a time because I'm not
that's why I
sure,
usually take
Okay.
but I was fairly quick, yes.
Okay. What about the second meeting?
Again, I don't know specific meetings,
you
but I can tell
lying,
you that there
bitch?
was a longer one where I did watch some dash cam video, look at different pictures, things like that.
It's not up to you.
What kind of pictures did you
I'm
look
gonna
at,
take my meds.
other than the dash cam?
I'm eating salad.
The pictures of John's house.
Okay. The same photos that we saw today?
Yes.
How long in total would you say all of those meetings were? Just taking them all together.
I really can't give you
She's lying through her teeth.
I really can't give you
I
an
can't
estimate. I
really.
think the first one was fairly quick. The second one, one of them was a little bit longer, maybe a couple hours.
Okay. Then the third one, was that also a couple hours, or was that one fairly quick?
That was fairly quick, yes.
So fair to say between 2, 3, 4 hours total meeting times?
Again, I'd have to probably go back
The
and look at
lady
the
says
date
she
and the
don't
time. I
know.
really
She's lying.
can't give you a specific amount of time. I
Did-
apologize.
Did Trooper Tully or Trooper Buchanan ask you any questions during the course of any of these meetings?
Patsy got a message from me. I deleted it.
Regarding the case, no, but we did briefly talk about
You don't remember. She
how
got
my kids were, how
Alzheimer's.
their kids were.
But they didn't ask you any questions about your testimony, about your case, about the case, about your memories, about
Trust me, I
specific
take a lot of
facts.
meds, guys, so.
I do not believe so, no.
During any of these meetings, was anybody taking notes?
Go delete that
Mr.
message.
McLaughlin, Mr.
Karen, why would you delete that message, Karen?
Karen.
Little B isn't going to be little much longer. Like, what's the problem with saying that? What is she talking? I don't know what she's talking about. Why remove that comment?
Lally, Mr. Brennan, any of the troopers?
No, I don't believe so.
So there was several hours worth of meetings with you and nobody scribed any notes that you saw.
None that I saw, no.
And these meetings were not recorded?
I do not believe so, no.
Can't you see? I might restart the live.
Ms. McCabe, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your family because I just want to make sure it's crystal clear who's who. You're married to Matt McCabe, correct?
Yes,
Who's Matt McCabe?
Your sister is Nicole Albert.
yes,
Nicole is married to Brian Albert.
yes,
So she's
It was
lying.
Brian Albert's home that you were at 34 Fairview that you arrived at where John's body was found, correct?
yes,
The same home where that late night gathering was on January 28th going into the morning of the 29th, correct?
yes,
Would you consider yourself to be close with your sister Nicole and Brian?
yes, very close.
Your families, it's not just you and Nicole, your whole families are close, correct?
Yes, we have a very close family.
How long have you known Brian Albert?
Since I was in kindergarten,
Ooh.
You consider him,
Suspicious.
even though he is not blood related to you, you consider him family.
yes,
Suspicious.
In addition to Brian and Nicole Albert, you're also very close with Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
Who the fuck
Yes.
are they?
Just to be clear, and I'm going to do this slowly,
okay,
Brian Albert's younger brother is Chris Albert, correct?
yes,
Chris Albert is married to Julie Albert.
yes,
You consider Chris and Julie family, even though there may not be a blood relation as well, correct?
yes,
Chris Albert is a Canton Select Board member, is that right?
now he is, yes,
No.
And the,
I'm gonna have to
Canton-
restart
that's
this
in
live.
Canton?
Nobody's here.
I said Select Board member, did I mention Canton Select Board member?
it is in Canton, yes,
All right, obviously, it's in Canton. The Canton Police Department reports to the Select Board, correct?
Yep.
I'm not aware,
You're not aware of that echelon?
no,
She's a liar.
You're aware that Brian Albert, your friend of, I'm not going to say how many years,
He's
but since
lying.
kindergarten, was a Boston police officer.
yes,
He had been a lifetime law enforcement officer for some 30 years before he retired recently, correct?
yes,
He's a trained first responder, obviously.
yes,
Brian Albert and Chris Albert have another brother named Kevin Albert, correct?
Damn,
Yes.
how many brothers did they have?
Kevin Albert is a detective with a police department, correct?
yes, I believe that's his title, I'm not
Which-
100%.
Which police department is Kevin Albert associated with?
Canton,
And you've grown up in Canton your whole life, you indicated.
yes,
Your entire family has grown up in Canton, correct?
Yep.
yes,
And you, Ms. McCabe, have three sisters. Nicole, we've talked about. You also have a sister named Shelley, is that right?
Michelle, yes,
Yo,
Michelle?
I'll be back, guys, at midnight. Thank you.
And Denise, who you mentioned in your direct examination.
So,
yes,
midnight.
Nicole is also known by a nickname, is that right?
yes.
What is